I put out my first video about Project 2025 over 7 months ago. And now people are just beginning to catch on how dangerous Project 2025 really is. Well, today I'm going to go deeper and show you how Project 2025 will unleash much more virulent, anti-Black racial discrimination. Stay with me. Hello, everybody. I am Attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers, and each and every week we bring you at least one legal analysis of some trending story regarding politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you with the information you need to defy an unjust legal system. If that interests you, and I certainly hope it does, it really should in a day like today. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so that you'll get notified when we upload one of our powerful and informative videos. So we're going to talk about how Project 2025 will unleash much more virulent, anti-Black racism. That's what I want to talk with you about today. Please go get a copy of my book, Education and Justice: How Public Schools Fail African American Male Students. I assure you, if your kid, your son especially, is in public schools, they are failing him in multiple ways that you probably don't even realize until it's too late. In this book, I tell you how they're doing this and what you can do about it. Also, we started, as you know, a program called BARS, Black America Reading Strongly. The program started June 1st, and already people have enrolled and registered their sons in this program, and it is doing well. Those young men are reading books and their parents are excited, and we're excited at what is happening. Please, if you have a child, a son especially, that is not reading at grade level, go and register. Go to our website at lljp.org, okay? We want to see a whole lot more young boys in this program because we want to get the reading scores of African American male students way up. The numbers show that African American male students typically read below their grade level. We want to correct that, all right? So go and enroll your child. All right, so with that said, Project 2025 is starting to get some traction. Hey everyone, I am Attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Recently, I took a look at our analytics and I noticed something shocking. Many of you watch our videos and I believe you enjoy them, but you haven't subscribed yet. What are you waiting for? Again, I was shocked because I know our content is empowering and informative. Plus, our 2024 goal is to have 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Please help us by hitting that subscribe button, especially you young folks. We particularly want to increase our number of young subscribers. Thanks for all your continued support. We appreciate it very much. Again, I did my first video on Project 2025, again, 7 months ago. 7 months ago. And now I understand, even last night, I didn't watch the BET Awards, but I was told that Taraji P. Henson actually told folks, because she was the host, I think, that they need to get up to speed on Project 2025. Now, the problem with getting up to speed on Project 2025 is they have released a 932-page manual. That's almost 2 reams of paper. That's that thick, okay? Most people don't have the time to read something like that, and some of what you read is very legal, it's very technical, and most people probably couldn't understand some of it anyway. So I've taken it upon myself to go into the deeper parts of Project 2025 and share with you what I believe are the most problematic provisions for African American people in Project 2025. So what I want to do today is I want to share with you a little bit about something called Desparate Impact. Desparate Impact. All right, so we're going to go and see exactly what Desparate Impact is and why it will definitely enable and unleash much more racial discrimination against Black Americans. So I say right here, the conservative movement has initiated Project 2025, a highly structured and well-financed campaign with an agenda that opposes democracy and civil rights. 7 months ago, I created my initial Project 2025 video when most people seemed oblivious to its threat. In the upcoming Project 2025 videos, I will explore in more detail and highlight particular dangers faced by African Americans from Project 2025. And the thing to remember about Project 2025 is that its policies have been around at least since the Reagan administration, because the policies were developed by this organization called the Heritage Foundation, again, which came into fruition in the early years of the Reagan administration. All right. And today that organization is led by this man, Kevin Roberts, Dr. Kevin Roberts. He's president of the Heritage Foundation. And what the Heritage Foundation did back during the Reagan administration was developed Reaganomics, if you will, develop sort of a Reaganism sort of approach to government, and then dispersed those policies from Reagan's policies around to conservatives around the country. So what these folks intend to do is to institutionalize Trumpism. They want to make Trumpism the standard bearer for the conservative movement. And we see that taking place in the Congress, in the courts, in the Supreme Court. Just today, we got this immunity case down from the Supreme Court. I will be doing a video. In fact, I think I'm going to go live and talk about that. And by the time you get this video, I may have already done so. So just if you missed it, go and watch the replay of the live if I do it live. I think I'm going to do it live. So they want to institutionalize Trumpism, and they're using the Supreme Court now that they have 6 conservative members on the court. They're using Congress to the degree that they can, state legislatures, churches, and so on, to codify, if you will, to memorialize, to make Trumpism the standard for conservatives, whether he win or lose. So what they're trying to do is really dangerous, very dangerous. And I got many videos planned to explain to you exactly how they are trying to do this. And as I said in the opening, they are well-financed and well-organized and have been around a long time. So they know how to get their agenda done. And those who oppose Project 2025, we're not that organized, unfortunately. We're not that well-funded. And so typically they're able to get their agenda done because our opposition is not as effective as what they're doing. Well, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my part. In fact, we're going to be introducing some merchandise soon, so that you can start purchasing this merchandise and wearing it and promoting our fight to defend civil rights and to fight Project 2025. All right, so Kevin Roberts is the leader of the Heritage Foundation, which gave birth to Project 2025. And what you see on the screen now is the manual, that 932-page manual that they've written that covers a whole host of things. I have been scouring that document, and there's one thing that I want to share with you today about what they intend to do, which will definitely unleash a lot more anti-Black racism. All right, let me explain what I'm saying. So, disparate impact. Disparate impact is probably a word you've never heard in your life, or a term that you've never heard in your life. In that manual that I just told you about, let me quote these words. Courts have ruled that even without evidence of overt, intentional discrimination, such results might suggest discrimination. This doctrine of disparate impact could be ended legislatively or at least narrowed through the regulatory process by a future administration. So, Dr. Roberts here is saying that they want to see the disparate impact doctrine done away with, like they did DEI, like they did affirmative action. Because disparate impact, we litigators, practitioners, civil rights litigators, we use disparate impact to prove our civil rights cases all the time. Because quite often when we bring these lawsuits, these civil rights lawsuits, we don't have intentional discrimination or overt discrimination. We as Black Americans know we don't have to be called the N-word to be discriminated against. We know that, having been the victims of discrimination all our lives. We know that racists nowadays are much more smarter and wiser than to use a racial slur. Nonetheless, they discriminate against African Americans all the time. And you see, what the law requires is that you show that the discrimination was intentional. And again, short of somebody calling you the N-word, it is very, very difficult to prove that the discrimination was, in fact, intentional. So the law allows us to show disparate impact. Disparate impact means that we can show that Blacks disproportionately have been affected by this type of discrimination. And that then shows the intent of the discrimination. So it's a way to sort of get around the fact that intentional discrimination is very, very hard to prove. If we can show that enough Blacks have suffered some injury or some damages because of a particular type of discrimination, then that meets the disparate impact doctrine. Well, they want to get rid of that so that a civil rights lawsuit will be dismissed by a judge unless you're able to show just some overt, intentional racism. And again, that's hard to do nowadays. Now, let me give you an example so that you can see exactly how this plays out in court. Meet Rhonda. She is a real estate investor who buys and flips houses. Recently, she sold a home she bought before the pandemic and made a nice profit. The money from the sale was deposited into her Bank of America account. A few days later, Rhonda went to the bank to withdraw $27,000 to invest in another deal. Despite being a loyal customer for 15 years, the manager refused her request for no legitimate reason. Rhonda tried another branch the next day. This time, the teller asked her for her driver's license to verify her identity. After showing her ID, the teller still refused and called the supervisor. The supervisor confirmed Rhonda was the account holder, but started asking offensive questions like, "Where did you get this money?" Rhonda refused to answer the question, and the branch manager was called. The manager also asked offensive questions. Frustrated and knowing she was being racially profiled, Rhonda asked why. They responded by calling the police, who verified her identity, but the bank still didn't honor her request. Now let's stop there. Rhonda, a legitimate real estate investor, sold a house, made a nice penny on it. The money was deposited in her bank account, and so then she wanted to use some of that money to buy and flip another house. So she went to her bank that she had been banking with for 15 years and said, "Hey, I'd like to withdraw $27,000. She went through all the protocols. She showed them her ID, put in a PIN number, all that you have to do. And lo and behold, they refused to give her the money. So she left that bank. That was one day. She left that bank. Next day went to another bank, figuring, okay, Maybe, the teller had a bad day or something. Same thing happened at Second Bank. Very same thing happened again. But this time, they called the police and asked her a bunch of offensive questions. Where did you get this money? Something that never happens to whites. Not those kind of offensive questions. Okay? So that is what happened in my scenario here. Let's go back and see what happened. It took Rhonda 2 months to get her money through a wire transfer. She just got discouraged, didn't want to go back, so instead of showing her face, she decided to do it through a wire transfer. In other words, this is banking while black. That's what she dealt with. She hired a law firm and sued the bank under a civil rights law from 1866, now known as 42 USC Section 1981. We bring these lawsuits all the time under Section 1981. Now watch this, as I just said. No one called Rhonda the N-word. No one said to Rhonda, we don't give this much money to black people. That didn't happen. That has happened with other litigants, other plaintiffs, but that did not happen in this case. But in order for her lawsuit to progress and in order for her to win it, the law requires that she shows intentional discrimination. That is really, 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 really hard. Really hard. Because like in the example that I just gave you, she couldn't show that anyone again called her the N-word or mentioned her race, but she knew that's what it was about. And we as African Americans know that that's what that was about, because no one would do that to a white person. Probably would never do that to an Asian person, maybe a Latino person, but not to a white person. Probably not to an Asian person. So she knows this discrimination, racial discrimination, banking while black, racial profiling. Absolutely. But the law lifts that standard so high, she has to show intentional discrimination. But there is an exception, and that exception is if Rhonda can show disparate impact, which means, can Rhonda show that other similarly situated black Americans have experienced the same type of banking while black? And guess what? Just a simple Google search will show you many blacks have dealt with the same type of discrimination, including famed director Ryan Coogler, right, who directed the film Black Panther. So it happens quite a bit. So one may be able to show disparate impact without showing that someone used the N-word when they denied this black person their withdrawal or discriminated against them in some other way. All right, now, notice these types of lawsuits come under 42 USC Section 1981, which is a civil rights law that was actually enacted back in the 1860s for the benefit of African Americans. And essentially it says that corporations must enter into contracts and enforce those contracts as it does with white people in the same way. So when you go, for example, to buy a car, to lease an apartment, to buy a house, to do business at your bank, to do business at Walmart, or some other place where a contract is established, they got to treat you the same way that they treat whites. Otherwise, you can bring a Section 1981 lawsuit against them. Now, the issue is, as soon as you file the lawsuit, the other law firm is going to file a motion to dismiss and say that you did not present any facts to show intentional discrimination. And our response is, well, we don't have to, because we will show disparate impact. We will show that other blacks have been treated just this way. And that then will get us around the intentional discrimination requirement or standard. Well, Project 2025 intends to get rid of disparate impact. Doing so would make it easier for corporations to racially profile Black people in various areas like employment and housing and many, many, many other ways. In other words, the impact of getting rid of disparate impact would be devastating for Black Americans, because corporations will say, we don't care that you file a lawsuit because you can't prove intentional discrimination, and because of Project 2025, Congress has gotten rid of the disparate impact doctrine. So what is that going to do? It's going to do just what the title says. It's going to unleash more racism in this country. That is just one of the specific threats that Project 2025 poses for Black Americans. So, right here, Dr. Roberts, Kevin Roberts, in that mandate for leadership, it says, quote, courts have ruled that even without evidence of overt intentional discrimination, notice it doesn't say courts have ruled that even without evidence of discrimination, but overt intentional discrimination. That's the hurdle. That is the hurdle, and it's a very high hurdle. Such results might suggest discrimination. This doctrine of disparate impact could be ended legislatively. That means Congress can kill it, like they've done the Voting Rights Act, or at least narrowed through the regulatory process by a future administration. So if Trump gets in office, this will be on the list of things that Project 2025, Dr. Roberts, and the Heritage Foundation wants the Trump administration to accomplish. And it's just one of many. One of many. I got more videos coming this week actually, showing you how Project 2025 specifically targets African Americans in many ways. And when you understand what Project 2025 is intending to do and see how that agenda is being implemented through SCOTUS, through they want the White House, through Congress, through state legislatures, wow. 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 It is very serious. So let me close by saying this. As I said in my live presentation just after, I think a day after the debate, for me, it doesn't matter if Joe Biden had been wheeled in a wheelchair into the debate and he fell out the wheelchair, fell on his face and couldn't get up. It wouldn't matter with me because I still would vote for Joe Biden. Not only because of the policies that Biden and Harris have put forth that have benefited Black Americans, but because of what Project 2025 and these folks want to do to African American people, people just like this. Trump, Dr. Kevin Roberts, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Speaker Mike Johnson, and millions of others. Millions of others. One of the things that Project 2025 want to do, and I'm going to talk about this in another video, is they want to fire thousands of people who work for the government and replace them with extreme right-wing conservatives, just in civil service type jobs, just government type jobs. This is what they're planning to do. We got to stop it. We got to ensure that Biden wins this election because Project 2025 is awful. I am Attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so that you'll get notified every time we upload one of these powerful and informative videos. Until the next time, peace.